Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, July 19th, 2018. I'm Keith Tebow. Tonight we have reaction to that tragic teenage drowning death this week at the South Watuppa Pond. We have an update on the hiring process of an economic development director in Fall River and details about an upcoming summer activity at Heritage State Park. But first, let's check in with the news headlines of the week. We bring in the digital news editor at the Herald News, Will Richmond. Will, welcome.
Thanks, Keith. Good to see you again. Yeah,
same here. Let's start with that unfortunate, tragic story of death this week of a 14-year-old student who perished as he was attempting to swim in the South Watuppa Pond earlier this week. You know, it's some of these stories that we hear from time to time during the summer season, and unfortunately, this one hit home where 14-year-old Ediel Benitez was with a 13-year-old friend of his. They jumped into the pond. Both of them appeared to be in distress. There were some other bystanders there who were able to save the girl, but unfortunately, the Mr. Benitez was unable to be saved. And this is something, unfortunately, Will, we hear about a lot during the summer season.
Yeah, you know, it's been an issue around the state this summer as well. Earlier this year, we had a Fall River resident who died of a drowning swimming in a beach off a beach at the Cape. So I know it's been something going on. You know, I don't want to say regularly, but you know, it's been an issue. We've had people have drowned in area ponds as well in recent years. So certainly, it's something to think of if you're thinking of jumping in, especially as we've had a hot and humid summer throughout these last couple of weeks.
You know, one of the things that was impressive was the fact that public safety officials in Fall River were on the scene as soon as they could get there, and they were there. They did recover Benitez's body, but not until he had been underwater for about 40 minutes or so. And you know, the public safety officials are very professional. However, they do get impacted when there's an event like this. And we had the opportunity today to actually speak with Fire Chief John Lynch, who talked about the toll that an event like this can take on public safety officials.
Well, it doubles the anxiety and the stress level for the police department and the fire department personnel, and also the emergency medical facilities. Because whenever a child's involved, obviously, it's much more critical. And most police officers and firefighters and paramedics are also mothers and fathers. So the stress level goes out exponentially. It doesn't stop their level of performance, but most of the time it's after the fact that it really starts to catch up with them.
So Fire Chief John Lynch earlier today talking about the incident this week at South Watuppa Pond. And even though, Will, that the schools are not in session, the Benitez family was actually one of those families that came over from Puerto Rico late last year and was integrated into the public schools. The public schools having some adjustment counselors for anyone at Talbot and Henry Lord, for any students who wish to speak to any counselors who may have known Benitez and may need some extra help. So again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, and there is help available to any friends of Benitez who may have been impacted by this event. All right, moving on, back to City of Fall River news. An article actually that was posted yesterday online, Joe Good writes about how there's been some talk on social media that it appears by some that there are more parking tickets being issued more than normal. And I know Joe wrote a story about this today. It's not necessarily the case. Is that right, Will?
Yeah, so we had started to notice earlier this week some posts of people commenting that parking control officers were out in neighborhoods that they don't traditionally see them in, you know, kind of away from the more of the downtown, Pleasant Street type areas where there might be meters. And, you know, so we figured we'd check in. You know, we may all remember there has been effort of the mayor to increase meter rates from 50 cents to $1. So there was some speculation with those posts that this was the way to make up that revenue, since that change has not been passed by the city council. So we checked in with the parking department. Director Laura Ferreira tells us it's not such that type of effort, but really they have a full staff right now. They've got 6 parking control officers at the moment. So they are getting some of these officers out into the neighborhoods to patrol cars that may be parked the wrong way, facing traffic on streets, blocking driveways in some manner, parking or blocking handicap spaces in neighborhoods. So it's really more of a concerted effort to enforce the traffic and parking regulations that the city has in these neighborhoods and not just focusing on the meters in the sort of downtown area.
Now, I think also during the summer, a lot of people will get more visitors because when weather's good, people go out, they visit friends and family, and there are parties, outdoor events throughout the city when the weather is nice. And I'm sure some of these have to do with, cars that may not be neighborhood cars, if you will, people visiting others that may block a driveway, come too close to the corner. So I would tend to think, I don't know if Joe asked this question, but whether the summer season you see a lot more of these types of violations.
Yeah, there was no indication that it was purely for summer purposes. The indication we were getting was it was a personnel issue. They've got the people, they're going to get them out there and be able to respond to some of the complaints that they may not be able to when they have to really focus, on meter violations and that sort of thing.
All right, so I guess do your due diligence if you're parking on city streets to make sure you follow the law and make sure you park in an appropriate manner. All right, earlier this spring, early summer, there was a story in the paper about Attorney General Maura Healey launching an investigation into activity at the Bristol County Sheriff's Department, specifically with Sheriff Tom Hodgson, who has been sheriff for many years now. And there's actually an article in today's Standard Times that was also posted on the Herald News website about 8 organizations and 36 individuals who have signed letters complaining about the Bristol County Sheriff's Department and the work being done there. Was this what probably led to the Attorney General's upcoming investigation? Do you know this?
Well, certainly these complaints and these letters requesting a deeper look into the Bristol County Sheriff's Department preceded the Attorney General's comments that there should be an investigation. So it would certainly seem, and she had even said at the time when the story came out a couple of weeks ago that there were organizations who were seeking this review. So it would seem that, the advocacy from these groups, many of them based in the New Bedford area and the Attleboro area, really helped to push this forward in the Attorney General's eyes.
So it's interesting to see that one of the complainants is actually a city councilor in the city of New Bedford. Ward 4 City Councilor Dana Ribeiro was one of those that signed on to these letters looking for some information about what's been happening at the Sheriff's Department. And I'm sure as the investigation continues, of course, the sheriff in the article has said that there's nothing wrong, nothing will be proven in error. So we'll have to wait and see how that develops. And finally, I actually want to go back to an incident that took place last week. We were not on the air last week, but the Fall River City Council met, and the issue of pay-as-you-throw came up once again. Many of you may remember we talked about this a few weeks back, where City Councilor Steve Long had sponsored a change to the city ordinance which would call for the responsibility of compliance to use the purple bags to be held on property owners and landlords rather than city tenants. That motion came from the Ordinance Committee. It was before the City Council last week. Councilor Long brought the action for City Council approval, made the motion, did not receive a second, even though there were a couple of councilors who had expressed interest in following through on this. So this item was ultimately tabled, and now it looks like it's going to go nowhere. Is that correct?
Yeah, at this point, it would seem that the enforcement issue will remain as it has. Tenants are responsible for themselves. Landlords not responsible for their tenants using the bags. Councilor Pam LeBeau had indicated that in her conversations with people, they were more concerned about the quality of the bags than that sort of method of enforcement. So she shifted her focus there. And, this is where it seems to stand. And, so the ongoing sort of story of the pay-as-you-throw bags is that, as we're pretty much stuck in the mud on this one.
Mm.
It seems that, it's the same as it was when it was started. Enforcement is very hard to enforce. There's only 2 enforcement officers in the city, and it seems that for as long as the program remains, this is just the way it's going to work.
And as we know, Mayor Correa is looking to abolish the program, did not include the revenue in the budget that was approved by the City Council last month. And there's still a question, and we'll have to approach this another time. There's still a question as to whether, even though there's an ordinance in place to institute pay-as-you-throw, there is a question as to whether Mayor Correa, as the issuing authority, if you will, here in the city of Fall River, can unilaterally end the contract with Waste Zero to, in effect, sort of end the program. So we'll have to wait and see how that all shapes out as we move forward. All right, Will, what's coming up over the next few days?
Sure. This week we bring our first article out in our Fall River Wonders series. This is a new project we've launched in which we ask readers to submit questions for us to answer. And we're digging into a question about the paint job on the Braga Bridge. So we'll have all the answers for that question coming in Sunday's paper.
All right, very good. All right, Will, we'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks, Keith, and have a good day.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Direct Care Aide. Community Connections Incorporated, located at 1082 Davall Street, is looking for a part-time direct care aide to assist people in and out of wheelchairs and up from and down to mats, and to intervene verbally and physically with consumers during behavior incidents. Job number 10771774. Graphic Operator. Displays to Go, located at 81 Commerce Drive, seeks a full-time graphic operator to measure, trim, and assemble printed product according to job specs using hand tools such as an X-Acto knife or retractable utility knife. Job number 10771536. Warehouse Fulfillment Associate. Amazon, located at 1180 Innovation Way, is in need of a full-time warehouse fulfillment associate, responsible for selecting items and sorting packages inside the Warehouse Fulfillment Center. Job number 10760613. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions for the 2018-2019 Fall School Program. Kindergarten and first grade ESL teacher, job number 10772440. Math teacher interventionist, job number 10772460. Portuguese teacher, job number 10772618. Club advisor, job number 10772485. For more information on these or other positions, visit jobquest.detma.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
FRC Media will be temporarily closed for 2 weeks in July due to construction and maintenance projects at Bristol Community College. Our studio and offices will be closed Monday, July 9th through Friday, July 13th, and then again on Monday, July 23rd through Friday, July 27th. Our programming on Channel 95 will be broadcast as scheduled. Please call 774-357-3726 if you have any questions, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We look forward to continue providing Fall River with local news, information, and entertainment when our normal schedule resumes. Welcome back. Getting back to our story of the drowning of a 14-year-old in Fall River South-Whatsup Pond this week. Again, we spoke with Fire Chief John Lynch, who urges parents and guardians to learn about water safety to avoid similar tragedies. He says water safety information can be found on the American Red Cross website and runs down a few vital tips.
It's critical that no matter what, that adults always supervise their children. It doesn't matter where they go, whether it's a designated area or an undesignated area, or your home pool. It's imperative that parents constantly supervise their children because you never know. You take your eyes off them for a minute, and next thing you know, tragedy could happen. So that's the first thing we should talk about, right? Adults, never take anything for granted. We'll talk about other things in this circle later on. But even if your child is wearing a flotation device or they're a good swimmer, they should never be out of your eyesight. And actually, they should be within arm's length. The second part of this really has to do with pool safety, home safety. And water safety is really broken into two different categories. We have pool safety, home safety, and then we have open water safety, oceans, lakes, and pools. So this talks about pool safety. Now, people that have pools should understand that their pools should be completely enclosed by a fence, at least 4 sides by a 5-foot high fence with a gate that is self-closing and self-latching, and that operating mechanism should be higher than what a small child could reach. If the pool is enclosed and the house is part of that enclosure, people should understand that the doors or windows that open to that pool area should have alarms on them. And that would prevent children from opening up that door, slipping out to go to the pool, and the parents are unaware. Because I'm not sure if people understand that most children between the ages of 1 and 4 drown at home or in people's pools, where older children tend to drown in open water areas, lakes, rivers, and ponds, and the ocean.
Working in conjunction with the Redevelopment Authority, Fall River Mayor Jaziel Correa is in the process of hiring an executive director to oversee economic development in the city. The new hire will be a city employee responsible for taking over most of the responsibilities that were previously under the direction of the Fall River Office of Economic Development. Here's an update on the hiring process to date.
The Redevelopment Authority has agreed that they're going to advertise for an executive director for economic development. The ad has been placed in the Mass Municipal Association and also with another group that was recommended by the Mass Office of Business Development. So we're hopeful we're going to get some qualified candidates. The Redevelopment Authority is also moving ahead to establish a committee, a screening committee that's going to be reviewing the resumes, doing some of the interviews, and then ultimately they will be recommending somewhere between 1 and 3 individuals to the full board of the Redevelopment Authority for a final decision.
Now, is the salary range between $90,000 and $135,000 I saw on the web? Is that correct?
Yes, it's between $90,000 and $130,000, and that's going to be a matter of experience. And we wanted to include within their budget with CDA some flexibility so they'd be able to hire a qualified candidate. Now, they will also be allowing the new executive director to hire another individual that will be more of a project coordinator role. So there'll actually be a 2-person staff working on the effort moving forward.
Is this strictly city money or CDA money as well?
Well, the budget itself provides predominantly for the use of Community Development Agency funding. And there is a subrecipient agreement that's being negotiated between the Redevelopment Authority and Community Development, consistent with all of those receiving funding from Community Development. But additionally, when we prepared the draft budget, we did provide that the Redevelopment Authority could put 10 to 15% of its own resources into the budget, so that if the individual that was hired was requested to do work that was not CDA eligible, they would have the flexibility to do that. So it gives the Redevelopment Authority some latitude in terms of how they want to use this person.
Now, is the Fall River Office of Economic Development going to be involved in any way?
The Fall River Office of Economic Development is under agreement with the Redevelopment Authority to manage their existing projects, City Pier, the biopark, the parking garages, day-to-day management. So it's my understanding that the Redevelopment Authority is planning to continue with that until at least for another year, because the contract is in full force and effect.
Longtime Fall River Board of Election Commission Chairperson Liz Camara retired at the end of June after 30 years of service. Her replacement, Kelly Souza Young, has now taken up that slack.
So we're just working on getting our absentees going, just continuing where Liz had left off, and going from my position into her position it's more work, but we're getting it done.
And you have a new staff member.
Yes, I do. Carol is our new staff member. She's been here since around March. She's our part-time, and she does a great job, and we're working on getting her to do more stuff in the office.
How's the state primary going? I mean, paperwork-wise.
It's in order right now. It's just waiting for the absentee ballots to come in, waiting for, just other things that we do, sending out the warrants to the polling places, getting the trucks ready to go deliver the equipment. It's just little behind the scenes things that nobody really sees. They just go to the polls that day, but we have a lot of behind the scene things that we do.
Who's running in the state primaries this year?
We have the governor, we have state reps, lieutenant governor, auditor, district attorney, county commissioners, the registry of deeds, all our county offices, as well as the state-run offices statewide, as well as our district reps.
And obviously you encourage people to get out there and vote.
Oh, absolutely. Our deadline is August 14th for the registration date. Just come register if you want to change your party, change your address, phone number, anything you want to change with us. We can do it by online. You can come in. You can send it by mail. And then we change it from there, so you'll be ready for the next election.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Here at Forever Paws, we would love for you to come and meet Albert Einstein. He was an owner surrender through animal control. We really don't know what his past was like, but he weighs in at 21 pounds. He is an older gentleman, 12 plus. We have found out that he has kidney issues. He's not dying of it yet. He just needs a good place to go home to so he can just finish out his life. He eats and drinks well. He loves attention. He does need joint supplements because his knees are a little on the rickety side. And basically, he's just a very nice cat. Come down and meet him. He's going to be here waiting for you. We're open 11 to 4 every day, but major holidays and Wednesdays.
Today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we have Charlotte. She is a guinea pig. She is about 6 months old. She was a stray. She was actually found in a garden. She doesn't seem to mind being held. Very curious, and she is in a cage right now with a rabbit. If you'd like to come down and meet her, 300 Linwood Street, Fall River. We are open every day except for Wednesday, 11 to 4.
CARO, the Cambodian American Rescue Organization, invites you to celebrate Fall River's diversity at the city's first Southeast Asian Cultural Festival. Experience Asian American customs, heritage, arts, and cuisines from around New England at this special and colorful event. Enjoy music and stage performances, sample cuisine from premier restaurants, and create your own crafts. There will also be a variety of traditional games, activities, and entertainment for children, and treats including Khmer shaved ice. The festival will take place from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, July 28th at Heritage State Park. There's no charge for admission. For more information, visit caro-inc.org or call 774-319-0684. Visitors to Heritage State Park in Fall River can get involved in a hat-making activity through the month of July. Here's more.
The month of July is hats and Corporate hats, and we happen to have a few hats around. They make fabulous hats here in Fall River. These hats are sold in high-end stores all over the country, and they're beautiful hats.
So you're using some of the Korber material?
Korber provided us with craft materials. They provided us with straw, with felt, and we just used our imaginations. We've used origami, we've used feathers, and we just put together a few hats. And some of us have gotten quite addicted to wearing hats and making hats, and it's fun. We've had a lot of people come by. Everybody's leaving with their own unique little hat. I invite everybody to come by and make a hat.
So that's the plan. The residents come in and make their own.
That's the plan. Come by and make it. We're celebrating hat making in Fall River, and let your hat making genies come out and let's do it. It's like everybody leaves with their own fun hat.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. One reminder, FRC Media will be closed again next week as electrical construction continues at our studio at Bristol Community College. All pre-recorded television programming will air as scheduled on Channel 95. However, because we'll not have power in our studio, we'll not be able to produce FRC Media News next week. FRC Media News will return on Thursday, August 2nd. Meanwhile, you can catch our program normally Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and on our website, frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you 2 Thursdays from now.